Met a girl in Oakland, but I don't wanna say.
All right, you guys, this particular interview, oh my God, is so special to me. We are joined by the Miss Beautiful Sonia B. Lee. First of all, okay, you're talking about royalty, NPC, IFBB Pro, bodybuilding royalty. Okay,
Oh,
and again, very special place in my heart because Sonia was my very first posing coach, one of my first coaches when I
yeah.
first started more than 4 years ago. So I'm
Yeah.
at story time. I'm about to tell a quick story. So my first time seeing Sonia, I was walking into a gym in Atlanta called I think it's FBL, and I was walking in, and you was walking out. You had a cute little bob, girl, face beat. You was lean. I think you was either just competed or going to a show. Had your little bag, cute little matching outfit, and I was like, oh my God, like what is this? I said, what have I gotten myself into? I was starstruck from that moment. I mean,
Oh,
you became my muse. And so for so
girl.
many of us in bodybuilding and bikini, and we've been doing this for a few years, we just have to give you your flowers because you opened the door for so many of us. You have hand guided so many of us. You have perfected our poise, our posing, our poise. You have created confidence in us. You have shown us how to do it elegantly. You have graced some of the biggest stages in this industry. And listen, if it wasn't for you, I mean, again, just to be able to have a legend like you, just be able to be so close to some of the top people in this sport, and then you give back so graciously. Sonia, thank you for
Yeah.
everything that you've done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm so honored. I mean, oh, thank you. I mean, to hear you put it so eloquently, it gives me chills. Thank you.
Listen, yes, yes. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning like we do all our conversations, and we're celebrating women. So building her story is all about celebrating women, specifically Black women in bodybuilding. Sonia, in about 3 words, if you had to describe yourself, what would those words be?
If I had to describe myself in 3 words, well, I mean, one for sure, I'm humbled. And I believe that I love to give back. So I'm not sure what exact word that is. And I love to learn. So I'm always open to learning.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so why bodybuilding? How did you get started um, in the NPC, or where did you start?
I actually started in NPC, my very first show. How did I get started? That's such a crazy story. So, that particular year, I believe, I was a stay at home mom and I was staying home. I didn't have anything to do. And I was actually dating someone at the time. And he said that I was giving, I would call him all the time trying to talk to him because, stay at home mom, you take your kid to school, you have the rest of the day to do whatever you wanted. And he told me that I needed to get a hobby. And I'm like, get a hobby? Like, what? What would I be doing?
You picked
So,
a hell of a hobby.
an expensive hobby, right? So I was like, okay, I'll just start going to the gym, working out. So before that, like 2 years before that, I was turning 30 at the time, and I just wanted to kind of get in shape. I wanted to fit this dress because let me tell you guys, once you hit 30, okay, the body is not the same anymore. It's just not the same. You cannot go out and eat and drink and wake up and be snatched. No, it's not the same. So I started training with a trainer, but it was just more of a personal trainer trying to get into workout. I never played sports or anything in school. I didn't have any activities. I really didn't know anything about nutrition, anything about working out. So this trainer, he was just kind of training me because I had a goal. I think I started maybe like 3 months before my birthday. And, I met my goal and I was like, okay, this is good. I fit into my dress. I had a good time. Cut all my hair off. So it was like that transitioning
That's
period.
right.
So I saw this guy on Facebook at the time, and he had these beautiful abs. I was like, oh my God, I just want abs. That's the only thing I wanted ever since I started this journey. The only thing I wanted was abs, right? And we all know that just doesn't happen. Like, that's what everybody say, oh, I just want to lose my stomach. Like, that's not a thing, right?
Hey, I'm guilty. That was me too. I just wanted a strong, tight body. Like I said, I seen you walking out, and I was like, that's it.
That's what I want, right? So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I just wanted to get abs or I wanted to train with you. And he was like, okay, I'm a personal trainer. So I linked with him. And as we were training, we may have been training for like, I don't know, maybe like a couple months. And he was like, you can do a bodybuilding show. I'm like, a bodybuilding show? What do you mean? I don't want to look like a man. I just want abs. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, no, they have bikini girls. They have different divisions. So he's like, how about you go to the shows? So I said, okay, I'll go to the shows. So some of the first shows I went to was like the natural show, SMBF. And I saw some other people in the gym that were competing. And they looked, they just looked like a tight toned body. I mean, back then, bikini was very much softer, more toned. It's nothing like the level it is today. Now, are they trying to probably go back to that? Yes, but bikini is what I would say was back in the day figure. Like that was just the level of muscle that you carried for figure, right? So that's bikini now, but back then it was much, much, much different. And I went to the shows and I saw the girls. I was like, okay, I'll try it, whatever. Like I still don't care. I'm just like that. And so we started training and I still didn't take it serious. Like I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna train, I'm gonna be tight, whatever. And then I had a show, my first NPC show was in Georgia in March, I want to say. And I went on vacation in February to Jamaica. Never do that, ever. I look good in Jamaica though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I was trying my best to kind of like eat clean, but the food is so different, when you're on vacation, when you're going to an island. And then I was still kind of like doing my cardio. But when I came back, girl, in my head, I thought I still looked good. Because at that time, you still don't know anything. Like, it's so new to me. I don't know anything. I didn't take it serious. I was just like, okay, I'm here. I made like over 50 something shirts. Like so many people came to support me from the gym. I had my dad, my stepmom, my mom, the children, my daughter, everybody came to support me. Girl, that was the worst show of my life. That was the worst show of my life. Like,
So that part of your humble personality was like kind of maybe like where you started to develop some of that. Like, wait,
yeah.
what happened? What's going on? Yeah.
Right. I did not place in open. I did novice and then I did open. I did not place at all in open. And then in novice, I think I placed maybe like third or something like that. And I mean, it wasn't even the placement, but I felt more so embarrassed for my family because so many people were there. But let me tell you something. Your family, your fans, anyone that loves you, they're going to love you whether you do good, bad, don't place, win. Like your supporters are always going to support you as that person. It's never about the win or the placement. So, I do thank them for that because they don't know how much that meant to me. But I was just so in my heart, I was like, I let these people down. They don't pay, it's like $50 a ticket, right? So I'm like, but they still supported me. They were still proud of me. And I'm going to tell you, when you compete for the very first time as a true novice, as they would say, there is no in between, in my opinion. It's either you love it or you hate it, right? And at that moment, I hated it. A lot of people don't know I am a very anxious person. Like, people think I'm an extrovert, but I'm honestly an introvert. Like, I am keep to myself. I'm a very shy. I've always had like stage fright and, with public speaking and being
stage fright.
Yes, people don't know that, but yes, I mean,
Wow, that's
when
hard
I
to
told
believe.
you, I was going into my back pose on the stage. Girl, my legs were shaking so bad I could not even get into the pose. I was so scared.
Right.
I was so scared. I was like, somebody please get me off of this stage. I was horrified. But after that, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm not going to do this anymore. I said, I never took it serious. This is, I'm not competitive. People think I'm competitive, but I'm not competitive with other people. I'm competitive with myself and doing well. And, I called it quits, and he was like, yeah, I agree. You don't have to do it. But fortunately, I had signed up for 2 shows at the time. I signed up for NPC in March, and then I had another show I had already paid for, SMBF, the natural show in April. So he was like, you know, you might as well just go ahead and do it. You already signed up for it. And I was like, I guess, you know, I'm a person, I don't like to waste money. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and do it. And I did that show and I went pro my very first show. Of course, you know, I had some time to look better, to focus on it. I was at that show like, I don't care about this show. I'm just here, you know. And then I went pro. I was shocked. I shocked myself, girl. I was like, I won. Me?
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Up there, it's kind of like, so they don't have levels. So when you're an amateur at SMBF, whoever wins their class, the overall winner goes pro. So that was kind of like, oh, that's kind of odd. But even then, it was so strange because in NPC, you have different height classes. In SMBF, they kind of just put you together how you signed up, which was so to me, right? So we had tall people, short people, medium people, and I won that particular class. So I could have been in any other class and maybe lost, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I ended up winning overall. So that kind of pushed me to say, okay, I need to go back to NPC and prove myself.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how that journey kind of went. Just to prove myself, I didn't know anything about being pro in NPC. I didn't know it was different levels. Like, you know, you have the regional, then national, then a pro level. Because SMBF is so different, the federation. So I was like, gotta go back to do an NPC show. And that's kind of just how I started my journey.
And what a journey it has been. So you got bit by the bug. This was kind of like a redemption thing.
Yes.
And now we fast forward to where, again, your name is known nationwide. And you know what I mean? It's like everybody's watching, everybody's looking. And I mean, you dominated for quite a moment. What were some of the highlights of your career?
Of course, one of the biggest highlight of my career is going pro at the Arnold Amateur.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that is, when I say that is the most unbelievable experience I've had in my life. You know, I went back, I did Lee Haney that same year. I came second. They said I was too lean. I lost to one of my really good friends, Ashley. She went on in December and she became pro, which, you know, somebody beat you and go pro. You're just like, oh my God, like, she deserved that.
It's happened to me twice, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, I just kept going. I was in between switching coaches, you know, and then I ran into a female coach that I've never worked with a female. I always worked with male coaches. And the female coach, I saw one of my friends that I made friends with on, because in the sport you would make friends so quickly. That's one of the things about bodybuilding, right? Because you guys connect on the same things. So I made friends with one of the girls, and then, you know, I kind of been following her journey, and she went pro at the same show I competed at, but I was with a different coach at the time. So that coach, her partner at the time, reached out to me, was trying to give me encouraging words, and I was like, I'm looking for a coach, and that's kind of how we linked up. And it's so crazy. So at that time, before I went pro in 2018 at the Arnold, you had to get qualified. Like, I don't know what the rules are now. I think at some point you didn't have to qualify for the Arnold, and then now that you're back to qualifying. But we had just started to work together in September, and the plan was to do the Arnold. No, the plan was to do nationals the following year. But then she was like, oh, I think you could do the Arnold because she won the Arnold herself. And I was like, the Arnold? Oh my God. Like, I'm like, I can't even win a regional show. Like, you know? And I had already done 3 national shows before getting with her, and I was always in second call out. So, I mean, clearly I couldn't, you know, understand the bikini criteria at that time. And she was like, yeah, you can do it. We'll just put it on your resume as just something to do. So anyone that says to me like, oh, we'll just do something, for me, it's such a common experience versus I want to go pro or I want to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never had that mentality when I won. When I do want to win, I do horrible. It's the weirdest thing, you know? It's just so crazy, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. We'll do it as a warm-up show. And then I found out I had to get qualified. So I started with her in September. We were training. We didn't find out till October that I had to get qualified. The last show was in November of that year to get qualified. So I had to do a 5-week prep. That was the hardest show of my entire life. Like, that is when I realized that I have the dedication it takes, the discipline that it takes. Now, I'm not saying that I did not cry on that treadmill, you know, but I knew, if I could do it, like you learn so many things about yourself in this bodybuilding journey, right?
Right.
And I've never wanted to just do something so bad in 5 weeks. I mean, I had already ate so much, gained so much weight just from the last show. And you're telling me I have to bring a physique just to qualify. We weren't even going to win. We were just going just to get qualified and then do the Arnold. And we had about maybe 4 months to kind of prep for that. So 5 weeks, cardio twice a day, training, eating barely nothing. Like, I couldn't even tell you what I ate. I felt like I was eating air, like just air.
You was just sucking life through a straw, like just yeah.
Yes.
Just keep your life. Am I still blinking? Is my pulse still going? Is my heart still beating? All right.
Right.
Mars here.
Failure. And then, I was going to my apartment gym at that time to do the second cardio. And I tell you, Davina, I was crying. Like, just 45 minutes of cardio it was like death to me. It was really, really hard. So we made it. We went down to that show. It was the Holiday Classic in Florida. And I took overall at that show.
Hey,
Right?
that's right.
I'm playing.
Right now, like,
I know, right? It was
do
really
you
crying.
think about that sometimes? Like I've heard that, and I'm wondering your opinion on that. That I mean, I have mixed opinions about it, but they say the more you suffer, the better you look on stage. What do you think about that?
I don't think so. I think it's just, I wouldn't say the more you suffer. I say the more you can endure, right? Because it gets hard towards the end as women, as men. That low body fat, we cannot function, right? So it's that mental aspect of it where you have to push through for those last moments, right? And I would say that's usually like a 4 weeks out from the stage. But for me, I only had 5 weeks, so I was
In that from the beginning.
yeah, for just 5 weeks.
Wow.
I also learned about myself that I am a person I am a procrastinator, first of all, but I'm a person when it's time, like it's down to the nitty gritty, I will push. Now, if you give me 4 months, I'm going to be like,
Right.
to do,
Your
it's
switch has to flip, but it's flipping
yes,
towards the end.
yeah,
When it's
to the
like, okay, you have no more time, but you got to
right.
get it done.
Right. But I do believe people shouldn't do that, right? Like you shouldn't do those last minute preps. Preps aren't easy, but it can be easier if you started 4 months, because then you're just slowly cutting calories or slowly building up your cardio and then being able to kind of taper down towards the end so you have that rested body, that rested look for stage. I just did it backwards all the time.
Yeah. So you win the overall at that show, and now you're going into the Arnolds with this fuel. Like,
Yeah.
wow, like, okay, I won, right? Like, the body is there. The recognition is there. So then tell me about that day when you win the Arnold. It was definitely a historic moment. Tell me a little bit about how you felt that day and receiving that award.
Yeah, so when I took the overall, my feedback was don't get any leaner. My body type, I have thin skin, so my muscle pushes against my skin and it makes me look very dry and very lean, right? So they said for bikini, don't get any more muscle. If you're going into another show, just go in just like that. So for me, I was like, okay, my next about 12 weeks, it's just kind of like a cruising. Like I'm just cruising into the Arnold. Like it was not stressful at all. We were still just going I had that confidence, like, oh my God, I won it overall, but it's still the Arnold. I just had enough confidence at that point to do the Arnold. I didn't think I was going to win because, that's like worldwide. The Arnold is international. People from all
Very
over the
prestigious, right?
Yeah. Very, very prestigious stage, and you don't know who's coming, right? So I was just like, okay, I could do the Arnold. I got my little win, So I get to the Arnold. The Arnold was one of the hardest show for me. Like, it really was, because the amateurs had to go on stage on Tuesday of that week. And then if you won your class, you had to hold your body until the Friday and the Saturday. Now, anyone who competes, you just know what you feel like just the day of the show, right? Imagine having to hold your body for another 3-4 days.
Wow.
That was so
I'm
hard.
so
Like,
glad they changed that because that is insane.
that is insane. It was crazy. Of course, we did our prejudging inside of the conference room, so that was okay. Just kind of went through. I knew I was in the middle, but you never know. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 girls, so you never know if you're second or first or whatever, right? So we were just like, okay, let's keep it together. It was so tough for me to keep it together. And then that Friday in the expo, when they say that you guys, are going to perform on the expo, there are like 20 to 30,000 people in the expo. I mean, if you go to the Arnold during that COVID time, it was a little different, but now it's starting to pick back up. It was in 2018, the Arnold was insane. So many people, so much events going on. I mean, I felt like, I'm like, is this what celebrities feel like when they're doing a concert or something? Like, this is so crazy. I mean,
Like arena, like a sea of people.
yeah, like, I mean, the expo is one of the places, if you never get on that stage, like, you would not know what that feels like. Like, the light hits you. There's people all over. And for some reason, I was not nervous that day. I think because the light was hitting me so much in my face, I couldn't really see the people, the audience. But just going out there, went to do my thing, and I was in the middle with somebody else again. It was like maybe 6 or 8 overall, so you kind of never know, right? And then I think top 2 would go pro that year. Top 2 overall were going pro. And then they called one girl, second place, and we're just like, oh, yeah. And then they call my number for overall to win. Girl, I was frozen in time, like, they just called 228, and I can still remember that number, right? My favorite number at this point. Like, they called 228, and the audience is like chanting 228, 228. I was like, oh shit, that is me. I mean, I was surprised. I went into my mini little cry, ugly moment, like, oh my God, like, did I just win the Arnold? Like, and even then, I had a lot of people watch the Arnold because it's such a prestigious show that I sent the link to everyone. I had so many videos, so many people cheering me on. And I just felt redemption. I really did feel redemption because a little story. I was kind of dating someone at the time, and that went kind of south. And some of the people were saying things like, she would never go pro. This is why you would never go pro, because you're this, you're that. And to me, for God to show up for me that way, right? And to have me go pro in front of the world, because that's one of the shows that everybody's going to see. I just felt like that had to happen, right? Because what is for you is for you. I always believe that. Like, when it's your time, it's your time. But for my time to be in front of the world, that was a memorable, unforgettable moment that will happen ever in my life, because I was going through so much at the time and still pushing through. And to be awarded and earn a pro card in front of the world, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
It
That's
doesn't.
amazing. That's an amazing story. Thank you so much. Like, I wasn't there, hadn't even known about bikini yet, but the fact that people were telling this story a year or 2 years later, when I finally found out about, bikini and the NPC, and they would say, that's Sonia, she won Arnold. That's Sonia, she won Arnold. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a
Right.
whole, again, that you are a celebrity, at least to me. So
Oh,
you
thank you.
for everything. Okay, now that all that's out the way, let's get to know Sonia a little bit better. Okay, so music, everybody knows me. Listen, music is at the forefront of my day, throughout my day, during my lifts, and at night. My life is set to a soundtrack. I've got a song for every mood. Tell me what's at the top of your playlist when you are in the gym, like what's getting you hyped? What is that song?
Oh gosh. I'm a little, I probably look a little normal to people, but I'm into the ratchet stuff. Like, I am with the ski all day.
You gotta motherfucking feel this shit, boy.
I do listen to a lot of Sexy Red. I do like Rick Ross. I'll listen to a little bit of Dre, but I like something that's kind of like more hardcore, that's gonna get me fired up. And I'm an island girl, so I listen to a lot of reggae and soca too, in the gym. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely that. Yeah, that's everybody. It's almost like you almost like have to pull out some parts of you, right? Like those other
Right.
layers. Like you said, I don't find that weird. because I be knucking if you bucking, and I be
Oh,
doing all the,
yes.
yeah, I be doing all the stuff too. And like people definitely look at me like this chick is crazy, but I'm that one that when that pre-workout hit, it's a wrap.
Music for me though, it motivates me to actually do stuff, whether I'm doing laundry or folding clothes, which I hate, or cleaning the house. When you turn on some type of music, it just kind of fuels you. It gives you some energy to finish what you're doing. And same thing in the gym, because you have to, especially if you're training yourself, you have to push past those moments of, oh my God, I can't do that. And you just have that music in your ear, like, yes, I'm that person. I
You
can
the type
do
that
it.
like waits for the beat to drop. Like let's say you finna try to hit a set and it's heavier than normal. You wait for the beat to drop and then you just
Oh
go, let's
yeah.
go. Like
Yes,
that's
this is
me.
the time. Like, let me wait, rest. Here we go.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's so
me.
me. All right, so let's play a little game, Sonya. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. It's called Would You Rather. This is just going to be 3 quick questions, and it just helps us get to know you a little bit better. So,
Okay.
if you had to choose, would you rather only eat fish or only eat chicken?
Only eat chicken.
Only eat chicken. So you
I
throwing away the tilapia?
can't eat to this day.
Yeah. You don't want
I
no
had
more fish.
fish and egg whites in my prep, my 7 to 8 years of bodybuilding. So if I had to choose right now, chicken all day, every day.
Yeah, chicken. Okay, question number 2. It's another food one. All right. And this is non-prep related, but would you rather have candy bars every meal or have to drink spoiled milk with your dinner?
Candy bars. I mean,
You like easy.
candy bars, easy, right? I don't, growing up, I don't remember eating a lot of food. I was a big sweets person. Like, I feel like I survived off of sweets. Like, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy.
candy bars every meal. Okay. All right. So now, final one. Would you rather have a personal maid or a personal chef?
Personal made for sure. I mean, when you're in prep, you're gonna cook, right? And you can cook and meal prep every 3 to 4 days, right? But when it comes down to cleaning and prep, baby, no, I already did my cardio, I already worked out. I am tired,
Yeah.
tired, tired. So
So that
definitely,
brings me to the next question. How do you balance that then? Because you're a mom, you know what I mean? You run your own businesses and you're also an athlete. So what's like your advice for how to balance life and bodybuilding?
that's a good question. And I think that looks different for everyone. For me, at the time, like I said, I would stay at home. So my first 3, 4 years of competing, I was at home. I didn't have to, actually go into an office. And I also believe that's why I did well. Like, honestly, right? So, when I did go pro and I did those 2 years and was going into more years of being competing as a pro, it was very challenging because at that time I went back to work. I had to make sure my child got to school. Then I have to find time for myself to put into, what I needed to work on. That was very hard. It was very, very hard. I I tell people it's not really a balance when it comes to bodybuilding, right? That is your job. You eat, work, sleep, train, cardio, repeat. Like no one else matters. Nothing else in life matters. Like your focus, if your focus is not there, someone else whose focus is there, whether they have a better body or physique than you, they will beat you every single time. Every single time. So do I believe there's balance? I don't. Do I believe that you can find balance? You can find balance if you don't decide to compete all the time like I did. So if you're doing a couple shows a year, yes, you can find that balance. But if you're chasing after a goal and you're doing 5, 6 shows like I did a year, there is no balance.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, when I first found out about bodybuilding and everything, again, it was just spotting really great looking physiques in the gym. I didn't know anything about the industry. I still feel
Yeah.
like while it's becoming more popular, we have access to
Yes.
people online, Instagram, YouTube. There's tons of misinformation, of course, and
Oh my God.
it's wild. It's all over the place. But if you had to give advice, or if you could share one thing that someone very new, very green coming in, what would you tell them?
Oh my God. One thing I would tell them is to hire a coach. Like, that is my number
That's
one
number
thing for
one.
someone. Number one, you want to compete, hire a coach. And I just don't mean hire a coach. I mean hire a coach there's, like you said, social media. Look at their social media, look at who they prep, look at their results, look at everything. Even reach out to some of those people and talk to them. Even reach out to some of the people that was on a team and see what their experience was with that coach. Do your research. Do your research. Hire a coach, and hire a coach that you can talk to. Not a coach that says, do as I say, not as I do type of thing, but talk to, hey, something is going on. I don't know. I don't feel right about this. Someone that you can ultimately talk to. Like, that's the type of coach you want. And in my opinion, I strongly advise women to hire female coach. So maybe I'm biased on that, but I have worked with male coaches, and I just feel like females should work with female coaches. And be honest and frank, because I do like to be honest and frank with a lot of people. I mean, not to bash anyone, but a lot of people can prey on that vulnerability with a lot of competitors, because a lot of competitors, would like to think we're sane, but we're really not sane, right? So we're competing for a reason, and there's something that in our lifetime we've experienced. And I just don't like that fact that if you're not strong-minded, a man can really take advantage of you, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't either. And it's happening. It happens a lot. It's 100% true. And if you don't know anything about the sport, or you are vulnerable, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to get taken advantage of. And it's too far. And now you've had a tainted experience.
Yes.
And you think it's always going to, this must just be okay because this is what I'm being told. And so
right.
I think, like you said, doing your research, asking questions, and being as knowledgeable as you can. And like you said, always be willing to learn,
Yeah.
yourself open to learning new things, so that you can make sure that you're being safe, because safety first, seriously. Because I think you're right. Some people just jump in and it's win at all costs, right? And I'll do anything to win. I'll take anything to win. I'll go anywhere. I'll spend whatever. And it's like, that's not what this is. It's not what
exactly.
This is. So
yeah, and if you're going to compete, you want to look at longevity, and not just that, how can I get from here to here, but more so longevity. Bodybuilding is longevity. It's a process. It's nothing overnight, right? And you still have to put in the work. And I don't even care if you want to take whatever, right? Do your research, but it's not a magic pill. You still got to put in the work. You still got to eat the right food, right? Or now you're just putting stuff into your body that's just messing you up for no reason.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, what is next for you? And when are you gonna be a judge? Listen, I see this. I see Sonia being a judge. Is that in your future?
It's so funny you said that. So I've retired. I've been off stage for about 2.5 years now. I know it seems so long, but it went by so quick. So I am a judge. I am an NPC judge. I started last year. I judged a couple of shows. I'm on the calendar for this year. So I am judging. I think they do need more younger people, fresher eyes, I would say, in the sport, because you kind of see the same judges, since I've been competing, right? So they do need more judges. The only thing I don't like about the judging criteria now, you can't compete, right? Coming from being a pro competitor, sometimes you're looking at people and you're like, oh, I missed it, I want to do it, but for me, really, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to eat that every day. But you do miss it, and I just hate that they make you kind of choose one or the other.
Yeah.
To that, like, ultimately, I would love to get to, judging the Olympia, judging the Arnold. I'm sure I need experience and continue to train, just like anything else. But we do need more women of color on that panel, because some divisions are cut and dry, right? So you kind of know if you look like this, you have V taper, great symmetry. But bikini is so subjective, and being a black woman, of course, I'm going to appreciate another black woman or black man in their structure. And I just always think beauty sometimes is in the eye of the beholder, right? So you need a diverse panel, especially when you're saying that these are going to be international shows. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point.
I'm very fair when it comes, it's such a different perspective on that side of the stage. I am fair. As much as possible, even if I know you, I still want to be able to be non-biased.
You have to be non-biased. I just want to say, oh my God, Sonia's judging me. That's all I want to say. I ain't asking for nothing special. I just want to be able to look down there and see something I've never seen before. So,
oh, yes, absolutely. And you look amazing, by the
Thank
way. I mean, I
you.
know
I'm
you can't
working.
interview me, but you look incredible.
Working, we working, we working. You remember where I first started? I still have the videos of our very first posing session. And my goal is when I go pro, I'm gonna put them two side by side. Y'all gonna
Yes.
get the biggest damn laugh y'all ever had. But it's I'm very transparent, and it's about showing that growth and showing that we
Yes.
all start from somewhere, and
Mhm.
that what, like you said, what that dedication and discipline looks like. And I credit you guys, because when I first started, it was like no nonsense. Like, this is what it is. This is what you got to do. And like, y'all was always brutally honest about how to respect the sport. So thank you
Yes.
so much for continuing to lead us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.